Hello YouTube, Shin Tiger Curl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you the next part of my countdown to Pirate Warriors 3 Let's Play. The last time we looked at one of the former members of the Four Emperors, the big badass himself, Whitebeard. Now, we look at the man who killed him. So, like always, all the information provided here from this video comes directly from the One Piece wiki. So if you want to learn more about these characters or the world of One Piece in general, head on over to the One Piece wiki and just wander around until you find something you like. Or be like me, read the manga and watch the anime. Trust me, it's worth it. So with that, let's begin. Marshal D.Teach, commonly referred to as Blackbeard, is the captain of the Blackbeard pirates and one of the four emperors who rule over the second half of the Grand Line in the New World. He was once a member of the Whitebeard Pirates' 2nd Division until he murdered 4th Division Commander Thatch for the Yami Yami fruit and defected from the crew. He briefly held the position of warlord after handing Ace over to the Marines before resigning upon returning from Impel Down with prisoners from level 6. Personality. Like many characters in One Piece, Blackbeard has a distinct laugh. He follows his distinct laugh follows the tradition by starting with his laughs with the phrase "ze," as in "ze ha 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 ha." This is not present in the English dub until the Baronero incident. Blackbeard's personality seems to be a strange mix of courage and cowardice, and with intellectual ability and raw stupidity. While at times his character looks strong and fearsome, others he will seem weak and ridiculous. He is apparently very deceptive, joining the warlords in an elaborate and convoluted fashion for the sole reason of gaining access to Impel Down in order to find new crewmates, and later resign from it in front of the fleet admiral himself, saying he doesn't need it anymore. He also is exceedingly power-hungry and greedy, aiming to become the next pirate king. His hunger for power has led him to fashion a very cruel way of recruiting only the best prisoners in Impel Down as comrades. He ordered them to murder each other and would only take the strongest ones who survive. Though he betrayed the Whitebeard pirates, Teach takes comradeship with the crew he had formed to a high level, making it evident that he was willing to make a trade with the Marines for a battleship big enough to hold them all comfortably for the sake of one crew member, San Juan Wolf. Despite his obvious malevolent nature, he is also genuinely compassionate, caring, sympathetic, and empathetic towards his crew's well-being, and is willing to take assaults intended for his crew. He is also has extreme thirst for adventure, regularly traveling from place to place. However, since he just plays it by ear. Blackbeard, like others who carry the will of D, has a strong belief in fate and dreams of men, but unlike others, is the only one who truly seems to take it to heart. He shares several attributes with Luffy, including having a voracious appetite, carefree attitude, competitive, reckless nature. Persevering even if it may have great consequences, and huge ambitions to follow his dreams of finding One Piece and becoming the new pirate king. Despite that, there is also a great contrast between him and Luffy. Primarily, Blackbeard fears death, whereas other D carriers embrace it if it comes, and was willing to betray his own friends for power. Just before his death, Whitebeard noted that Teach was not the one Rogers was waiting for, and dismissed Teach as being able to continue Rogers' legacy. Perhaps because of his strong belief in fate, Blackbeard is highly amoral. He believes that there is no inherent good or evil in the world, jeeringly mocking anyone who expresses such a belief. He is also patient and conniving, having spent several decades on Whitebeard's ship just to get his hands on the devil fruit he wanted, before killing Thatch and leaving the crew. His nihilistic tendencies are in line with the power of the Yami Yami fruit he possesses, which is said to reduce everything to nothingness. During his raid on Impel Down, he stated that his plans have not gone exactly as expected, but willing to take on these surprises in stride. He handed Port Gas D Ace over to the world government and finally killed his former captain, Whitebeard. Despite this, he still displayed respect for his superiors during these events, referring to Ace as his commander, and said that he aspired to be like Whitebeard. He He showed his ruthlessness when he killed Thatch, and with his crew's help finished off his former captain. Blackbeard is often very calm, composed, relaxed, easygoing, cheerful, and free-spirited, but he can be surprised and startled, such as when Colby told everyone present to stop the war, or when Whitebeard had held him by the throat. He is politely sarcastic and mocking towards those around him, such as when he taunted Luffy about Ace's inevitable execution, or when he mocked Whitebeard for his age. He is also overconfident, and while very powerful, tends to converse and or taunt his opponents in the middle of a fight. He has done this in every battle he's been in so far, and as a result he always suffers heavy, painful attacks when his guard is down, such as when he taunted Whitebeard about not being able to use his powers and nearly got cleaved in half by Whitebeard's Bicentennial, or when he boasted himself in Magellan and was drowned by the Hydra attack. Luckily for him, Shiryu came to him and gave this crew the antidote. His overconfidence also made him believe that he could do a trade with the Marines, despite having betrayed them already, which once again proved his mistakes. Since acquiring 2 Devil Fruit powers, he has developed a severe superiority complex, believing himself to be truly invincible and the strongest pirate of them all, while revealing his goal for world domination. Despite his arrogance, Blackbeard does not show a sense of caution as he refuses to Blackbeard does show a sense of caution as he refuses to fight Shanks and his crew, as well as Admiral Akainu when he was aboard the Marine battleship that they wanted. Powers and abilities. At some point in his life after Roger's death, Teach once fought Shanks and gave him the characteristic 3 scars over his left eye, although the Emperor's strength at that time was unknown. After the Battle of Marineford, Blackbeard proved to the Gorosei that he had a one-step lead in usurping the empty Emperor's position that Whitebeard once held, which eventually came to fruition. One of the more impressive feats he committed was defeating 2 commanders in the Whitebeard pirates, Portgas D. Ace and Thatch, both with hardly any effort, when few people would even dare touch a member of the Whitebeard pirates for fear of incurring their captain's wrath. Ace has stated that Blackbeard could have been a commander when he was recommended for the position, indicating that his strength was equal to any of the other commanders, which is notable as he had not eaten his devil fruit yet. Blackbeard himself is shown to be an expert planner and a master of orchestrating manipulative schemes, provided he has a sufficient enough advanced period of time to prepare. He waited 2 decades aboard the Moby Dick with the Whitebeard pirates and even integrated with the crew dynamic solely to increase the opportunities to obtain the Yami Yami fruit. He also collected his original crew members during this timeline, indicating great charisma and leadership abilities even as a regular crewmate. He also went to the capture of either Monkey D. Luffy or Portgas D. Ace in order to guarantee an offer for the vacant position of a warlord by the world government, which in turn was simply sought for free access through the gates of justice to the notorious Impaled Down to recruit powerful level 6 prisoners to strengthen his crew. He is shown to be knowledgeable about Haki, as he demonstrated in Impaled Down when Luffy angrily attacked him, commenting how his spirit had improved. As of yet, it is unknown if he can use any of the 3 kinds of Haki. However, for all of his battle prowess and intellect, Blackbeard has a ridiculous habit of conversing with his opponents too deeply, letting his guard down in the process, a defect that he has demonstrated in his battles against Whitebeard, Luffy, Ace, and Magellan. This usually results in him suffering critical injuries. In fact, if not for Shiryu's help, Teach's entire crew would have died from Magellan's Devil Fruit ability. Physical abilities. Teach has incredible resistance and has incredible endurance, as demonstrated when he took a point-blank quake bubble from Whitebeard to the head and neck without losing consciousness, especially since his Devil Fruit causes him to receive even more damage. He has also taken a direct slash from Whitebeard's Bicentennial without suffering any lasting damage, and was strong enough to shrug off a kick to the head from the supernova Jewelry Bonnie. During his fights with Ace, he was pierced in the chest by 2 fire spears, but after putting out the flames, he was able to shake off the impact of the attack. Another indication of his sheer endurance is that he took a point-blank gear-second attack from an enraged Luffy and was hit by Sengoku in his Daibatsu form, only to come away with minor injuries both times. Teach also possesses incredible superhuman strength, which is demonstrated when he seriously injures both Luffy and Ace in just one hit, sending them both crashing back with incredible force and distance. Devil Fruits. Blackbeard has become the first and so far only known user to wield the powers of 2 Devil Fruits at the same time. Though unknown means, he has acquired the extremely destructive powers of the Tremor fruit from the dead body of Whitebeard and is now able to create earthquakes like his old captain. Marco speculated that it's possible due to an unstated peculiarity unique to Blackbeard himself, having to do with an atypical body structure of some sort. He also pointed out that the other Whitebeard pirates should have been aware of this fact. Teach appears to be knowledgeable enough to know how to use the Tremor fruit power straight away after extracting it. With the power of darkness, the Yami fruit, which reduces anything into nothing, and the power of quakes, the Tremor fruit, which brings destruction to all, Blackbeard claims himself to be truly invincible and the strongest of them all. During the 2 years away, the Blackbeard pirates went on a hunt to track down powerful Devil Fruit users to kill them and absorb their abilities. Thus, Teach, and possibly his comrades, have lightly added more abilities to his arsenal. The Yami fruit. Blackbeard has eaten the Logia-class Devil Fruit Yami no Mi, or Yami fruit. With it, he can manipulate gravity, as shown as an ebbing shroud of darkness. Teach demonstrates that the darkness is a void which devours anything, able to pull in, much in the manner of an actual black hole, and crush his surrounding environment into pieces of rubble. Due to the Yami's gravitational abilities, Blackbeard, unlike every other Logia user, cannot disperse or let attacks simply pass through him, drawing the attacks in faster towards himself, meaning that he takes equivalent or more damage than a normal human would. However, Blackbeard states that the deficiency this presents is well worth the advantages the fruit bestows upon him, such as the ability to absorb certain projectiles and then hurl them back at his foes using moves like Liberation. The second and most frightening power of this fruit is the nullification of other Devil Fruit abilities through physical contact, allowing Teach to physically hit Ace, whose body is composed of intangible flames, and injure Luffy, whose body was made of rubber. Teach states that because of this, the Yami fruits truly holds the power of the devil. As such, Blackbeard's style revolves around getting close to his enemies and grabbing them, canceling out any defensive abilities they have, forcing their own natural resistance to take Blackbeard's massive strength. Blackbeard must, however, physically touch his enemies to cancel their powers. This puts him at a huge disadvantage against enemies he cannot reach out and grab, even more so when the enemy can hurt him at a distance. However, this weakness can be rectified somewhat by his signature Kurozuko technique, which utilizes the suction power of his to draw his opponents towards him. This technique opens up another weakness, since right after he uses it, he's left open to attack at a close range. The Tremor Fruit. With the newly acquired powers of the Tremor fruit, which is said to be the strongest Paramecia-class Devil Fruit, Blackbeard can create shock waves by shattering the air itself, creating devastating earthquakes that can destroy the Marineford main building itself. He can also focus his quake powers into a quake bubble with his fists, greatly increasing the damage in a single punch. He acquired this fruit after wrapping a black tarp around himself and Whitebeard. The process of how he got it is still unknown to this day, though it can be assumed that he used the power of the Yami fruit in some way to acquire it. Teach acknowledged that he still doesn't have full control of his destructive power, though, and he does not have as much skill as Whitebeard had with the abilities involved. This was perhaps first demonstrated when he chose not to directly confront Akainu, despite having 2 Devil Fruit powers at his disposal, whereas Whitebeard himself confronted the Admiral directly. This strongly insinuates the difference between the skills of both Blackbeard and Whitebeard at using the fruit's true powers initially. However, it should be mentioned that Blackbeard, who was much more careless and vicious personality than Whitebeard, can be considered a far greater threat to the world than Whitebeard himself. A perfect example of this is when Marshal D.Teach was creating random earthquakes to test his newly acquired power in marine forward. He also sent a giant tsunami towards the Shabayoni archipelago without even realizing it. Haki. Teach has mentioned Haki on multiple occasions. On Jaya, he first hinted at his use of Haki in measuring Luffy's. He also used it again in similar circumstances to measure the growth of Luffy's Haki during the Impel Down arc, stating that Luffy had grown since they had last met. Weapons. When the Whitebeard pirates started protecting Fishman Island, he is seen with metal claws on his left hand. Seeing their shape, he most likely used them to give Shanks his 3 scars. He is also seen using flintlock pistols to deal the death blow to Whitebeard along with the other Blackbeard pirates, and also has 3 pistols tied to his stash. His accuracy with them is not openly shown, as he was only seen emptying his ammunition into Whitebeard at point-blank range. And that is the profile of Marshal D.Teach. 16 minutes overall, not bad. Tune in next time as we do another group profile as we look into the eternal bane of all pirates everywhere, the Marines. So, if you like what you've heard, link, comment, subscribe below. If you got any questions, comments, or just want to talk about One Piece, leave them below. I promise I'll get back to each and every one of you. If you want to support the channel, just do a nice little Blackbeard punch to that like button, or click on one of the advertisements scattered around the video. They really do help out. Or if you want to donate directly, tip jars up there. Do what you can. So, until next time, this has been Shin Tiger Curl saying good morning and zeh ha 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 zeh ha 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 zeh ha 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 ha.